The property development makes, I think, more millionaires than any other business in the world.
Absolutely.
And the reason for it is it's an appreciating margin business as opposed to a depreciating margin business.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and the wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Do that.
So Sam, let's talk about the vehicle, because I'm very curious about, because honestly, when I started my property business, it was kind of by accident. Well, by accident, no. What happened was when I arrived to London, I was working in a pub, right? And I think I was making $5.75 per hour, something like that. And so when my salary came, right? It was at the point that I was spending more than I was making. And when I'm looking at the salary, the biggest overhead was the rent. So I say, well, I either deal with this overhead, and I always call it, I either monetize the problem or I have to come back to Spain. There's no way that I can, and that's why I started rent-to-rent business, and this overhead went away really fast because I was doing the properties, and then basically we're renting the house, living in that house, and the rent of the other rooms, they were covering the my rent. And this is how all started, out of necessity, right? So, but in your case, do you have any family member? Do you have any friend? It was out of necessity. What was this? Do you read the book? So what really happened that drove you to this vehicle that I think all of us, either by accident or any reason, we end up in this in real estate? I think that we are blessed because it's the best thing. I'm so grateful to real estate that and is built everything that I had done in my life. I traveled the world. I speaking from thousands of people. I have paid my dreams. I done anything in life that I want to do, and that won't be possible definitely without the real estate. So how it was by accident also? You have a friend?
It wasn't by accident. I mean, no, it wasn't a friend. I was in many different industries before real estate. I was in consumer electronics. I started consumer business back in the late 80s in the blank audio video cassette market. So I was selling batteries and selling cassette tapes and VHS tapes. This is long before a lot of people.
Oh yeah. I remember the cassette. I was a kid.
Correct. And so I started in that business, and and then from that business I went into the dry cleaning business, into the retail dry cleaning business. And these were very difficult and very challenging businesses, each one of them. And the margins, what I saw was in most of these businesses, the margins were getting lower and lower year by year. So I would start in the business of the consumer electronics, and it was great. I was making money, but then the margins started to decrease every year, and you were making less and less money. And I could see that it was getting to the point where in a few years, you'd have no margin or very little margin to be able to live. So it was not sustainable. Then I went into another sector. I went into the dry cleaning business. Again, what I saw was the margins depleting over the years. Cost of labor goes up, cost of supplies go up, but the margins continuously diminished. What I found is I was looking at a sector as to where the margins were increasing every year as opposed to decreasing. And that's through property appreciation. And so the property development makes, I think, more millionaires than any other business in the world.
Absolutely.
And the reason for it is it's an appreciating margin business as opposed to a depreciating margin business. And so you could buy a piece of property, even leverage it, and within a year or more, the property is worth more than you bought it for, rather than, and again, I'm generalizing. There are cycles where you don't hit that, of course, but those cycles are also very short-lived. If you look at the long-term, or you look at 5-year horizon or greater, the properties have always appreciated. They've never gone down to a point where. So to me, I think the real estate development and property sector is the best for making your first million, because it's the easiest and the most accessible way to do it over any other business that I've been involved with or that I've seen.
Well, I agree 100% with that. And
And you can borrow against it. It's easy to borrow against it. It's easy to raise equity. It's easy to borrow. It's much easier business to get into than starting
absolutely. Yeah. Like I always share with people, number one, Sam, right? A lot of people investing in crypto, in this, on that. Number one thing is, don't invest in things that you don't know, that you don't understand, right? Yeah. Nothing wrong with crypto or Bitcoin or whatever, but if you are in that space, make sure that you understand that business. The other day, a friend of mine was 60 years old coming here because she invested in some Bitcoins, and then the wallet was, she was not finding the money, things like this. I asking her, but how come you are investing in this? You're 60 years old, yeah. Any of these technologies were not there. This is a highly tech managing keys and wallets and things like that. No, Harry, because they told me they can make a lot of money. Yeah, but you do need to understand what's going on. And I think a property is easy to understand. We all have living house. We all have paying rent at some form. So it's something that is not complex to understand on the center level. Of course, when if you become a luxury property developer like you have to learn a lot because it's a different game. However, it's something I think is easy to understand. I'll tell you when I realized the property was great is I was doing landing services. So I was offering the accommodations of people traveling from London to London, from Europe, from Canada, from all over the world. So I was giving them the room, and then they were telling me, well, we want to learn English. So I opened an English school. They want to find jobs. I opened a career advice for them. Yeah. And then, again, there were other business that was complementing my main property business, right? But again, margins, this is when I started to discover that margins was not that great as the property one. It was just, so I was doing those business because they were generating leads to actually rent the rooms for my property. It was a kind of a lead generation strategy to support the main business, yeah. But oh boy, one of this lead generation strategy, I decided to open a restaurant, a Spanish restaurant. And oh my God, I'm I'm used to rent one room for 1 year. I had tenant that attend in my house, in my properties for honestly 10 years, 12 years. And I rent it only once. Yeah. And then I'm receiving, I don't know, 600, 700 per month over 10, 12 years. Right. And then I have to a restaurant when one table need to have 5, 6, 10, 20 times. And then you have food costs. Operations, health and safety. I mean, you also have a problem, but not the extent that you have there. Like the fridge doesn't work, or they go 2 degrees down. They will put a sticker there, and then all of a sudden you have to buy a new fridge, and it costs maybe 5,000. Just for 2 degrees that the thing is not reaching. And I was shocked, even until today. Every time that I see a restaurant owner making money, I'm like, man, you're a genius. How you do that? How you manage to get to do that, to make money in something so an operation so complex? I'm telling you should be doing something else. You clearly love food. Yeah, every time that I find a restaurant, they say, man, you clearly love food because the structures. Yeah.
You want to have a business where you get out more than you put in. A successful, return business is that the business rewards you a lot more than you're putting in, right? You don't want to have a business where you're putting in more than the business is giving out. The business should be rewarding you. So in a lot of businesses, you're actually putting in a lot more energy and time and bandwidth than the business is.
I only ask Sam that has owned several businesses can speak this about just because of our own experience. Yeah, I always said, business are like girlfriends. Sometimes they are not they are not all that good. Yeah. So, or no, let me rephrase it. Some girlfriends are better than the other ones, right? Nothing wrong with the girlfriends.
You gotta find,
I need to find a better analogy than that one. But
you gotta find the right partner that and a business is a partnership. That's going to reward you
exactly
for the investment that you're making into it, right?
Yeah.
And you'll be able to get out more than you put in.
Yeah, very nice way to put it. Yeah, a business is like a girlfriend. It's your partner, right? It's actually it's not duplication of you, but it has their own life, their own. It moves in a way separate of your own life, right? So you clearly articulate it, and it's like it's definitely a partner, right? And then so we need to find the right partner. In the same way that we when we're looking for a girlfriend, we want to marry or something, we need to find the best partner that suits us. And but Sam, so what advice do you have for entrepreneurs out there? Because I think that we all want to do what we love, right? And I'm in that boat myself, right? Honestly, my passion, my dream is, what I do now, traveling all over the world, doing conference, helping people how to grow the business, do this broadcast, meeting amazing people like you, and trying to put something out there to help people. This is what I'm really passionate. But to be honest with you, I will never could pull this off without my property business. It was the foundation because building this business that I have now, the events company, when we do training, corporate training, and talks all over the world. Yeah, everything that I learned in property, right? If I didn't learn everything that I know about property, especially customer service and things like that, we're gonna go back to that later. It was I'm gonna have very little chance to be successful at this one, and also I understand the margins, so I have to go into the business even if I'm passionate about it, right? That can emulate the margins that I get in property, because otherwise, what's the point? I want to keep doing property.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.